We'd like to thank Ring Central for sponsoring and making this show possible. Without Ring Central, this wouldn't be happening. Ring Central has been a big part of Telarus for years. In fact, last year was our top booking UCaaS provider. If you haven't engaged with Ring Central and made them a part of your strategy, please reach out to them now. Welcome to another edition of Business Transformations. The business we're talking today is Broadband Consultants with Mark Prudell. Mark, thank you for joining the show.
You bet. Good morning. Hello, and thank you for having me.
So, Mark, you've run a very successful business. We've been a partner for a long, long time. Share with the audience, if you would, your decision to start Broadband Consultants.
I was working in telecom with my business partner, Mark Radford, starting back in 2000. We worked for several carriers selling large enterprise networks, helping them with their call center, lead generation, everything. And it just got to the point where we were making the companies a lot of money. And then if there was an internal decision or we decided to leave to go to another company, the revenues that we were generating had built up would go away. So it was just time to, look within and figure out that it made a lot more sense for us to be working for ourselves and develop the base and the client to Broadband Consultants. So it was secure, we were diversified, and no matter how much monthly reoccurring we sold, we knew that it wasn't going to go anywhere, or that some company wasn't going to be able to take it from us. More of a security.
So let's talk about that journey to security. Because you went from a well-paying job, benefits, everything's great, to living the dream. And I think what most people don't understand who haven't started an agency is how long it takes and what the struggle is. Tell us what that was like when you started the business and what you had to do for your family.
It's a pretty big commitment. It's a major leap of faith. There's certainly a lot of sacrifices that need to be made. Certainly nothing that's great's ever achieved easily. So it was time to buckle down. We actually, it was a transitional period. The company that we were working with in telecom was trying to sell. So they had just let go of all of their sales force to lean their books up to sell to, I believe it was Platinum Equity, when there was a large merger acquisition going down. So they had all of the clients that we promised them that we were going to bring them, and they decided that it was time to cut the salespeople out of the picture, and that was the deciding factor that Mark Radford and I made to start Broadband Consultants. So literally went from, buckling up the belt and liquidating a lot of stuff in our life to be able to bridge the gap, whether it was getting rid of cars, toys. I lost my home. We had to move our family somewhere, ended up on unemployment for a little while, but a lot of sacrifices within the family. It was absolutely all worth it. We all wish that we had started years prior, but there was a rebuild period, and it took a while. It was a lifestyle change, but was absolutely worth it. So it didn't just happen overnight. I would highly recommend it to anybody, though, and starting sooner than later.
So tell me about sticking with it. I mean, when you're 8 months in, you've got little to no commission coming in because the accounts haven't turned up and started billing yet. You don't have your salary anymore. Did you ever have a thought of bagging it and going and getting a job?
There was always the thought of having something on the side, whether you were starting another line of revenue through something simple, maybe literally, working with friends in one of their business, picking up a partial salary or even an hourly job. Thankfully, I've been married to my lovely wife for now 30 years, and she was working, which helped support our family. But, there was moments where, I might have to pick up a job bartending or being a line chef at a restaurant to bridge the gap. And I think just not losing focus and, having your goals, having the simple, reasonable means to obtain these goals, and, have confidence in yourself and not listening to a lot of the flack or flatter that's going on around you. Know how much MRC that you need to be booking. Make sure you're communicating with your master agency, making sure that your clients are happy and that the bills are getting paid so that the commissions can roll through. So yes, there was times when, I wondered how we were going to make the next house payment. But we, like I said, literally got rid of just about everything in our life and moved somewhere. I moved my family to a location that was much more affordable and safe until we could rebuild our company and move back closer to downtown, closer to Seattle, King County, where it was more.
And you did it, and you did an amazing job at that. In fact, I loved one of your comments when we chatted a bit before about when you finally got to stasis where you could sustain yourself. And I think you mentioned putting normal things in the refrigerator, that you could actually have normal things in the refrigerator. I thought was a great way to visualize, what someone goes through to build a business like this, that it's that kind of sacrifice.
Yeah, nothing's easy. You really learn to appreciate the things that you may have come easier to you when you had a large salary. And maybe you live for the weekends opposed to going out a couple times during the week, but you certainly appreciate it real quick when you're determining how you're going to feed your family, keep the lights on.
Yep. So when did you start hiring? At what point in the business creation did you start hiring?
I think we were just past a year and a half. We brought our first gal on who was helping us with the quoting and back office. She was an hourly employee. It wasn't long till we moved her to a full-time employee. And after getting, subscriptions to Salesforce and then eventually later on RPM, she was basically crunching numbers for us. So doing quotes, Mark Radford running the back office and me helping with sales. And then, slowly brought on another individual several years later that could help with post-sales support. We've got some fantastic employees that we work with that work from home. We give them free reign as long as, they're doing their job and they're happy. That's what's mostly important to us. But several years later, bringing on a person that could do the post-sales stuff. So we then had a full-time quoting individual. We then had a full-time project manager, post-sales support person. And I think just letting the reins out and realizing that to grow the company, we certainly had to plug in individuals along the way and relying on, fantastic partners like the folks at Telarus as well to help.
So you're hiring people, you're growing the business. You actually changed the business in your approach when you went from highly transactional, lots of circuits. We saw lots of volume that Broadband Consultants was selling. And then there was a switch over time to selling more, I'd say, larger ticketed items or different technologies that you started selling. How did that transformation come about?
That's true. We were, we've always stayed pretty true to our business model and doing commodity-based connectivity sales, domestic and international. We were supporting two of the giants within the industry at the time with our friends at Solforce, and then it moved to Broadband Now, which we had IVRs and inbound calls that just literally, I would say, almost drove us nuts. My family thought we were crazy. I had a hand call sign, which meant, be quiet when the phone rang because I'm taking inbound calls. You never know who they were going to be. It could be Chevron Corporation or, Jimmy Chevron on the corner. So we grew a lot of those clients into our base, expanded services with them from broadband connectivity to enterprise and point-to-point fiber and global services. But after a while, I think Google figured out the algorithms on the lead generation SEO stuff, and Broadband Now eventually sold. So it was time for us to pivot, and it was interesting. It just naturally came into to the reality. We had a reputation for being able to take large quantities of customer locations and turn those around. Excuse me, my computer wants to scan here. And turn around the connectivity options where solutions architects and engineers were coming at us and managed service providers, NSPs and ISPs asking us to run these locations for them because we had become so good at it, where we could take on 200 sites, 300 sites, 400 sites all within a day or a week. and run the surveys, figure out, all the different last mile technologies and keep that all in order to return back to whether it was the Equinix guys or other managed service providers for those solutions architects or engineers to determine what they were going to want to get on order to support the software as a solution or the cloud-based services that they were proposing to the client. So we just literally moved upstream to more of a support role for people trying to support larger enterprise sales. And the timing ended up being great for us. We had all the systems in place. We still do. We've stayed true to that, and it's paid off.
Well, it looks to me like from the outside that you've really run this business where you've got these referral partners, you've nurtured these relationships, and that reputation then has garnered more, and those new relationships have pulled you into these larger accounts, larger opportunities.
It has snowballed, and I will say that we are very fortunate. We seem to get opportunity from many different angles, whether it's a referral from somebody in the industry, whether it's a consultant that's utilized our quoting abilities to help move their solution along, whether it's our base clientele, or whether it's other partners, carriers, or solution providers within the industry that know that we have the ability to take on the volumes and give them a great results, and then help them get services on order. And we include the project management to get them to install, to make sure that their clients are happy. And it's kind of a team approach that people have turned back and relied on us to be, that fourth leg of the chair to help facilitate their sales. So it's worked, it's proven, and we're thrilled that we made that pivot away from those high rate commodity $89 broadband sales. We sell more enterprise dedicated fiber certainly than we do broadband today.
Absolutely. So we talked a little bit, as you and I chatted before, about what's next for BBC. And the topic came up about capital that is now coming into the industry, looking for investments, looking for places to place that capital. Tell us some of your thoughts on that. Is that something that BBC wants to entertain? Are there terms that you would consider?
We would consider it. We've been approached by several folks within the industry and the people that hold the big purse strings and that are looking for the acquisition and to roll up firms. The great thing about Broadband Consultants is we have a good track record. We have a proven track record. We have a good reputation. We've always delivered, what we've promised. We are happy coming to work every morning, and we enjoy what we do, and our employees do as well. So the good part is we're okay at status quo and continuing, but we certainly would entertain bringing in additional capital. And my business partner Mark Radford and I think of ourselves, where do we want to be in 5 years? What's going to happen in 10 years? Still an involvement, the day-to-day business, and being able to push the ball down the field for Broadband Consultants, but taking on a capital from an investment company is something that we absolutely are interested. We are looking at it. We would entertain it. And we'd like to see the brand grow. I joked around in the beginning, I'd love to see everybody in the world be a Broadband Consultant, replicate our business model, cookie cut it, use our systems, our process. We're very invested into Salesforce and RPM. We have more structure probably than anybody that I know in telecom as far as tracking stuff. And, when it comes to commission reconciliation and provisioning, change orders, move orders, all of it. And we've invested a lot of money internally and would like to see, and that could be replicated. So taking on outside investment money to grow that to the next step is something that we're entertaining. And we look forward to what's going to happen in the next, let's say, 5 years. So
it sounds to me like you're saying, no, I would not take a buyout. The terms that I would want to see on any sort of capital is it's an investment in us to scale our business. Is that accurate?
Yeah, that is accurate. I think that we've gotten the ship to where we are today. I think that it's important for us to absolutely be involved. We understand the business. We understand our model and how we adapt to the consultants and people that want to utilize our services. So we would absolutely have to have skin in the game to take us to our next, great destination location.
That's all we have today for Business Transformations. Thank you for joining.